Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream and another daily transfer update with a little bit of a twist. As you can see, I'm joined by Saeed. We're going to be talking all things Man United. We're going to be getting some thoughts on Chelsea as well, but mainly what's happening at United, the takeover, Mason Mount, the transfer strategy, all sorts of things are going on there. But yeah, it's certainly going to be a good show as always. So make sure you smash the likes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and get your thoughts in the chat as well. So thanks for coming, bro. Massively appreciated as always. I guess there's only one place to start. I'm sure you've talked about it a lot. Mason Mount, deal is now done. You know, it was drawn out, £60 million all in. He's got the big contract. He's got the iconic number 7 shirt. First of all, what are your thoughts on that? Because I've seen a lot of United fans, particularly on the timeline on YouTube and that as well, saying it's kind of mad to give him that 7 shirt. You know, when you've had like Beckham, Cantona, Ronaldo. For you, has the number 7 lost a little bit of value at United now? Not because he's wearing it, because of the way they're giving it out.
Yeah, it's lost a bit of value. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not the same anymore. If I'm being honest with you, the initial reaction from me was like, "Wow, like United actually gave it him." You know what I mean? More kind of surprise rather than anger. I know there was a lot of anger going on, but I think that was mainly because a lot of United fans still love Ronaldo and that kind of feeling with Ten Hag. It's still a bit frisky, the relationship with certain fan base who did support Ronaldo as well. So in that sense, you know what I mean? There was that kind of thing where it was almost like that added incentive to go angry at Ten Hag and why it was given that decision. But for me, I think it's not surprising anymore because at the end of the day, you got to remember the number 7 shirt was great, but it isn't great anymore. When you look at the likes of um, Depay, Di Maria, Cavani's had it. There's been a lot of players that have had it since then, and I think for me, it's lost its meaning. I think Mason Mount getting it, it's one of them where you could have at least waited a season or two and maybe given it them. But I think it was an incentive. A lot of people say that it's not been an incentive for him to kind of join the club, but I think it was an added factor as well in terms of giving him that number 7 shirt, making him feel that he's amazing. Like Beckham, his idol would have definitely been Beckham and Ronaldo. So imagine that you come in and your idols, and you still get you get the number 7 shirt, and life is good. So yeah, 100%. I was underwhelmed by the signing anyway. So when I seen that, I was like, well, it is what it is, isn't it? What can you do? So yeah, man, he's hit the jackpot, man. He's joined by United, he's getting the Champions League football, and he's getting the number 7 shirt. So he must be buzzing when you look at it from a personal perspective.
He must be pleased with himself. But do you not think, though? I know we obviously know that it was Ten Hag's man. He desperately wanted him. He was kind of the driving force behind that deal to get it done. He was tracking him even when he was at Chelsea, when he was on loan at Vitesse, and Ten Hag was at Ajax. He was even looking at him then. So this is like a number of years in the making for Ten Hag to obviously coach Mason Mount. But I tell you what, it's not half putting some pressure on the lad, is it? You know, you're the priority signing for the manager. Crazy. You're big money, and you're the number 7. Like I know we were discussing on your show before. Like, is he going to start? I actually think it's nailed on. He starts. You don't give someone a number 7 shirt. You don't give him the 7 all this big contract. I think he starts. Well, I mean, where do you see him fitting in?
You know what? I think he starts because I just think for me he's built that not relationship, but like it's almost like a bond with Ten Hag in terms of he's watched him at Vitesse and whatnot, and he's a Ten Hag signing if you kind of look at it. But I think he fits in straight away. I think he fits in one of the 8 roles alongside Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes might play a deeper role next season. That's what I presume will be. But at the same time, it's going to be a case of high pressing, counter pressing, winning the ball high up the pitch and making sure we are so well drilled and well oiled in terms of when we do lose that ball, we're quick to get it. And I think that's what Mason Mount will give you. Yeah, it's crazy. But I think for me, Ten Hag's wanted him, and when a manager wants him, you kind of have to understand it because it's like if you don't back the manager and you don't back his decisions, it's almost as if you're going against him. I can disagree with him, and that's what I've done with this situation. Is that I think that for me, I don't understand what this signing is when you look at what we need, but I've kind of come to terms with it now in terms of what he's going to offer us. And I think that's what it is. It's going to be the pressing, it's going to be the high energy. the off the ball, the half turns I've been hearing from Chelsea fans.
He's
You
good on
know,
the half
it's gonna
turn.
be
I can't lie. He's good on a half turn.
yeah, well, there you go. Then I'm going to be seeing that Old Trafford next year, then the half turns, and seeing whether they're good. You know what I mean for the football club. So I understand why we kind of have bought him now in a sense. But like I said to you, it's a big pressure, man, to have that number 7 shirt to come to the football club when I won't say a lot of fans were underwhelmed, but there was a split in fan base in terms of whether he was good enough for Man United and whether we overpaid and whatnot. It's a big pressure now. Every game gets scrutinized. Every game, people are wanting him to fail. Not for me personally, because at the end of the day, you don't want to do that if you're a fan. You want every player to succeed. But for him to kind of had bad performances, it gets scrutinized, and he's got that number 7 shirt as well, which hasn't bode well for so many in the past, especially in the recent future as well.
Well, and Alexis, that was well, obviously Ronaldo, but then the Sanchez before and that. But yeah, the number 7 shirt could weigh heavy on him. Look,
Yeah,
I maintain he's a decent player, and I'll be interested to see how he does at United. Not because I want him to do well there or anything anymore, but it'd just be interested to see how he
yeah,
fits in. But bro, I would have thought, for me personally, obviously you know much better than me, but I would have thought you would have been. You might still go and sign someone, but I would have thought you would have been much better off going to sign someone that can slot in alongside Casemiro. Because let's be real, like Fred's
yeah,
got 1 year left on the contract, not really good enough, probably going to be on his way out. McTominay, probably not good enough if you want to push on again. Like you're not,
yep.
there's not that many other options to slot in alongside Casemiro or as a rotation for Casemiro. That for me is an area which I look at for United and you think you need someone in there.
Yeah, you need someone in there. And this is why I think for me, Moises Caicedo would have been a perfect answer. We are looking at maybe getting Amrabat, but again, that kind of depends on sales. But I get what you mean in terms of what we need is not Mason Mount. I firmly believe that because I feel like for me, yes, off the ball, Ericsson isn't great, but still, United conceded 7 goals for majority of the season. You know what I mean? And sorry, certain games of the season we conceded 7, 6, 3. I think a lot of it wasn't down to do with off the ball. It was to do with when we had the ball, we lost it. We lost it in transitions. We lost it in certain moments where people just couldn't keep the ball. We kept hoofing it. We kept, you know what I mean, trying to find the long ball over to Weghorst. That was the reasons why we didn't have that identity and that shape. We then will see maybe a different way where Ten Hag wants us to be better off the ball so that we don't concede as many and we don't give up as easier. But I'm sure you've seen Mason Mount give up a few times at Chelsea last season where you thought, oh, he's not really bothered here. So let's hope that he doesn't do that same situation at Man United because we're very unforgiving over here. Yes, we can forget and we'll back you and whatnot, but you know what, man? The fan base is ruthless. It's on edge. Like you don't know. 1 minute they back you, 1 minute they're not. So it is a very very key position that he's added in. But at the same time, it's like I understand where he wants that side because Ericsson hasn't got the legs anymore. That's the issue.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess with Champions League football as well, you're going to be in 4 competitions next season. Hurts me to say
Yeah,
that. We've just got the domestic stuff to focus on, but you're going to need
yeah,
options there. And to be fair to him, I know he was injured a bit last season for us, but generally, like Mount's fit pretty much most of the time, which I guess is going to be a plus. But we'll have to wait and see how it works out. Mate, I wanted to talk to you about another one. And Chelsea, I think, have been a little bit guilty of this as well. In the way if it comes across, they don't treat certain players with the respect they deserve. Now, De Gea obviously
yeah,
won the Golden Glove. I think it's fair to say that he's been on the decline over the last few years. I know it sounds weird saying that, having just kept the most clean sheets in the league last season, but generally speaking, he's making a lot of high-profile errors. Probably the main reason why you didn't win the Europa League or at least make the final.
mm,
He's out of contract. Currently, I think he's obviously a free agent at this point in time. He's not attached to the club. Um,
mm.
but just quickly, what have you thought of the way United have treated him, firstly? And because I think it's mad disrespectful for someone that's been here for so many years, given a lot of great
Like,
service to the club, for him to sign
yeah.
a contract on a massive pay cut, happy to take it. He signed it. And then when United go to sign it, oh, now we're pulling it and we want that to go down even more.
Mm.
That for me is mad disrespectful. And it acts like if you're not
Yeah,
that's not acting like a big football club. That's proper
no,
amateur.
no, no, absolutely. I think for me, it's very, very bad of Man United. For me, I still consider him as a legend at the football club. I think a lot of people have disagreements in that, but I think for me, he's a legend. I think for me, he deserves to be treated a little bit better than what he's been treated right now. But again, everyone's got their own opinions. I think a lot of people are split in that decision. But for me, I think for me, he's been disrespected quite a lot in a in a Man United shirt, especially the last couple of months by the fan base. But I think it's got that toxic right now. It's just got to that situation right now where it's become toxic. It's become too much. It's become a situation where the fan base have just had enough, and then the club to rescind this contract after you've given it him, and then to kind of say to David De Gea, well, we're gonna just wait on the side while we decide what's going on. I think for me that's very bad. It's not classy. But then again, this football club, the way it's run, it doesn't surprise me again. Like the way they run, like every situation, you think they're gonna surprise you, but they keep on not, because at the end of the day, you're like, well, bloody hell, what are you doing now? So I think for me, they must have given him a contract where Ten Hag must have vetoed it, because I can't see the football club make a decision and backtracking. It must have been Ten Hag. He must have said, you know what, if you could go get me another keeper and then I can get a cheaper keeper, then see where it's going at. Because obviously right now he's put an emoji out. I don't know if you see the emoji. It's almost like a
Juggling.
juggling act.
Yeah.
But then again,
He's
people are
done a
saying
couple
it's
of
a
them, hasn't
circus
he?
emoji.
Like he done.
Sorry?
What was the one he done before the juggling one?
The
Because it was
one
a
was
few
like
days before
basically
there was
like
another one, wasn't there?
yeah, hands on his mouth, basically saying, "Oh, you know what I mean? He can't really say much or whatever." So that for me is so bad, man. It's so bad when you actually deep it and when you actually understand what's gone on. It's so bad. You know what I mean? And that's where I kind of look at it. I think to myself, you know what? Like, why did it need to get to this stage here? The last day, even at his wedding. Imagine that, thinking you've not got a club and you've got a
Well, no,
wedding as well
comment
at
on
the
his
same time.
post,
Must
didn't
be.
they? They commented under his wedding post, didn't they? United as a club.
Did they? I didn't see that one, to be
Yeah,
fair. I
yeah.
didn't see that one.
Yeah, they put a
That's mad.
comment under one of his wedding pictures or something. I can't remember what it was, but like they've just mad disrespecting him, and they're just coming being all nice under his post from his wedding. It's kind of mad. But bro, what do you think's going to happen with him? Do you think ultimately he is going to leave, or can you still see a compromise being reached? Because if you do get Onana, which you're pushing hard for now, I don't
Yeah,
see De Gea as someone that's going to just be prepared to sit on the bench as a number two. He's still got something to offer to a team as a first
yeah,
choice keeper, not necessarily the Premier League, but whether it's Spain, whether he goes to Saudi, Italy, whatever it might be, he's still good
yeah,
enough to go and play as a number one goalkeeper somewhere. So I can't see a situation where if Onana signs and you're pushing hard to sign him, how De Gea will think, oh, I'm going to stay now. That I've waited for you to sign another keeper, and then here's your contract now to be a number two. That surely isn't going to happen. So do you think that
yeah.
chapter is closed for De Gea? It's done.
100%. Yeah, yeah, it's done. It's done. I think that situation is done. I just look at it and I think to myself, like you surely would have known De Gea's performances have deteriorated throughout the season in a sense of in certain games and whatnot. And Ten Hag must have been looking at that closely. You could have made a decision in January. Then he could have made a decision and said, you know what, I've got 6 months to find a club. He wants to stay. I don't think he wants to leave in a sense of he's he's edging towards a leave and whatnot. Like, I feel like for me, Saudi Arabia, obviously they've got the money, they've got the know-how, but he's looking at it thinking, hold on a minute, I can still make it at United. He still thinks he can play 2 or 3 more years. He's 32 now. He still thinks I can got a couple of years. Got Champions League football as well. You never want to leave when you've got Champions League football. If you've got Europa League, it's a different story. But especially Champions League again, it's somewhere where it's like he didn't want it to end like this as well, man. Like he didn't want to end it like this in this situation. And I think that's where he's kind of like saying, nah, man, I'm better than this. I'm better than this. Like, even if it means I stay 1 more year, I need to stay at least, to kind of see it out and get a proper send off. Because nobody gave him a send off, remember? Because everyone expected him to sign a new deal.
Oh yeah.
So,
Mate, we've had that as well with a few players. Like we never got to give Kante a send off, who's done so much for the club, because we thought he was going to stay, and then then he went to Saudi. There's a number of players that we didn't get to give proper goodbyes to, and yes, he's not been on the best of form, maybe over the last few years, but to not give someone a goodbye who's been there, he must have been there well over 10 years, hasn't he?
yeah, well over 10, yeah, more than that. He came in 20, I think it's 2011, I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
2011. So
yeah,
when Van der Sar retired, we got David De Gea in.
yeah.
The first season was a struggle for him, but the second season, he won the league. So for me, it's been a good servant for the football club, and I just don't like the way we've kind of treated him, really, to be honest with you. And I think that's where my kind of issue is. But then again, I do think it's a bit pathetic what he's doing on social media. He's giving into the trolls, man. Like the amount of people that are trolling him now It's ridiculous. People that don't have faces on their accounts. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's ridiculous because at the end of the day, you don't want to see that. You know what I mean? It's like Mason Mount now. He went off social media. You know what I mean? And whatnot. And a lot of people are on to him. Again, everyone's right. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But it gets to the point where it gets so toxic and it's like, damn, man, what are you doing? You're feeding into the trolls. Like and
yeah.
that's what I tweeted today. I said, you're feeding into the trolls. What are you doing? Like just you know what I mean? Like it's not good
He's
for you to do
he-
that,
he's
you
better
know?
than that. You know, there's certain ways of acting. I can understand that he feel hard done by and disrespected by the club, but you know, it's like there's no need to put emojis out and cryptic messages and all that sort of thing. Just before we move on to Onana, mate, it looks like Chelsea are advancing to the final stages of negotiations with Pulisic
Wow.
to AC Milan, 22 million euro package bid
That's
sent in
crazy,
yesterday.
man.
Mate, do you know what's mad, right? Is that we bought Pulisic, right, 3 or 4 years ago, £63 million. We're going to get just under 20 mil for him.
What did
That's,
you did you actually spend 63 million on him? Are you
yeah,
sure?
bro, we bought £63 million for him from Dortmund, right? We
Nah,
bought
you
him.
didn't. You didn't.
Yeah,
You didn't.
no,
Let
we
me see
did.
this.
No, I promise you, mate. We spent £63 million on him.
Chelsea sign Pulisic.
Nah,
I'm gonna check this out.
I promise you, bro. He's 63 million.
Oh yeah, 57.6 million.
Yeah, plus
What
add-ons.
the heck?
Bro, it was mad. He was mad expensive.
Yeah. Obviously the value has gone down in terms of his injury record and
He's still
whatnot.
only about, I think
I
he's
get
only
you have made a loss, but
He's
when you
still
consider
23,
though,
24 though. I think he's 23, 24. Maybe like he's
yeah.
still young.
But when I think for me, when you consider the fact that he's been injured and he's not been consistent, it's
Yeah.
still a decent price to get him off your wage book, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To get him
for
off
sure.
your
Bro, I swear, weren't you lot linked with him? I swear he was linked with a loan to United in Jan. Was it this
yeah,
January he was gone? Or maybe last January? I can't remember. But there were links with United on loan, weren't there, for Pulisic?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was links, and we were linked with him last January or this January as well. You know what I mean? But he's a United fan, though. He's actually a
Okay.
United fan. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I never rated Pulisic in that sense
Nah.
of okay, he's got the qualities. Though. I think he's got the qualities, but I think for me, consistency wise and also injury wise, for me, that's where he kind of lacks in, and that's the bread and butter, man. If you can't stay consistent and you can't stay fit, then there's no hope, really, is there? Let's be
Nah.
honest.
No, there's
You
not.
know
And
what I
at the
mean?
end of the day, like when you speak to Chelsea fans about Pulisic's best form, it still goes back to Project Restart, bro. When your best form's Project Restart,
Yeah, lockdown ballers.
something's not gone right, mate. Lockdown baller, like obviously doesn't enjoy playing in front of a full stadium and all that. So yeah, it is
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly.
It's another one out the door. We're like he was surplus to requirements. It was time to move on. Yeah, we would have liked to have got more money for him, but get his wages off the bill, trim the squad down further again. And do you know what? One thing that Chelsea are very good at, player sales. No club over the last 10 years has generated more money through player sales than we have. And I
Yeah.
think when you look at United and yourself, like that's one thing that United struggle with. Not good at selling players. I mean,
No,
why do you
no.
think that is, mate?
You need to teach us, man. You know, honestly, Chelsea fans need to help us out, man, because we're just so bad at selling players. We're so bad at, you know, what I mean, and it's just sad, really, because at the end of the day, this football club has produced talent. It has had talent. And every single time when we get it, we over just literally we either undersell or we just break even, and that's literally it. And I think for me, it's like, damn man, like, can you not just make a few sales correctly? You know what I mean? Get some money out of it. But yeah, I don't know. You know, I think again that comes down to recruitment. That comes down to the people running the football club. They're not very kind of football minded. They're for me I don't know, like the idea of how to do business, I just don't think they know it, man, and they undersell for some reason, but then they overpay. Like, how does that make sense? You undersell, but then you overpay. Like, when are you gonna be breaking even? Like, it's just mad. It's just crazy. But
I think it's
we're not really good at that, and it's never been our kind of forte. Chelsea have been always good at it,
yeah.
even in the Abramovich era. Like, you've been good at it, selling players. But maybe it's because I had this theory, right? Maybe because Chelsea buys so many players I don't know, just that it's just a feeling of like they've got a value in them for some reason. Because when they loan them out, they do somehow do well in certain stages or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a kind of a weird one when you actually do it. Oh, Man United made a bid, 50 million
Oh
now.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I'll bring it up on the screen now quickly. But yeah, it
Yeah,
is kind of mad because like you've got a lot of players that you need to get rid of, like Maguire, McTominay, Fred, to name a few, probably Martial as well. But let's talk about goalkeepers then, because this is pretty new. United have improved their bid for Onana. It's now 50 million euros, add-ons included, so around 45 plus 5. Inter always asked for 60 million, but sources believe 55 could be the right
wow.
number to make it happen. Talks continue. What are your thoughts on that? Because again, I know that you aren't a huge fan of the negotiating team at United, whoever that is, whether it's Murta, whether it's Fletcher, whoever these guys are that are involved. From
Yeah,
the outside, it looks like these guys don't know how to do business or don't know how to get deals done quickly. We saw it with Mason Mount dragged out. This looks like another one that I'm not saying that your first bid's never going to get accepted, really. Like that's kind of how these things work. But I don't know,
yeah,
United, for me, from the outside looking in, it always seems like they're not very good at getting deals done quickly. And if
yeah,
and then they, and as you say, they then end up overpaying because they're taken so long and it's dragged out, then just overpay because other teams, maybe they threaten to walk away or whatever it is. But Onana, again,
yeah,
worked with Ten Hag before. Do you like this signing? I think he's a top goalkeeper. I mean, we were in for him as
yeah,
well, but for whatever reason, we've then walked away. I mean, reportedly because it's too much money. I don't believe that. I think maybe we're looking to go down a different route, not looking to bring a
mm,
number one in. I don't really know, but he's great with his feet. Would you be happy if this is a signing? Because it looks like at some point
no,
this will get concluded. Do you like this as a new
yeah,
first?
yeah, yeah. 100%. I think for me, this is a good one, mate. I think this one should get concluded. I think it's always been around that area where I think for me, 45, 50 million euros will be the kind of catch. They obviously want 55, but I think for me, this will be the one, man. And I hope this gets done, man. Because he's a good keeper, good age as well, experienced, knows the manager well. And I think once this gets done, then obviously David here is surplus to requirements, and if he probably leaves the football club. So yeah, this is hopefully going to be another good one as well, man. So yeah, I think this is a right price, right kind of area. I always think with keepers, you never want to overspend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You always want to go in around this area. So I reckon 50 million. So right now with what we've been in 50 odd million. Yeah, exactly. So I
So
reckon this will get
45
done.
plus 5 you've done. So they probably want 5 more up front, probably.
5 more up front. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I
So,
always find, you know what
yeah,
I'm
I
talking about? I
reckon it's
always find it kind of mad, bro, when you've got like when clubs have got millions to spend, right? And they're offering
yeah,
45 million, and you think if you're already paying 45, what difference is 5 extra million going to make? Do you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
it's
But it's negotiation.
yeah.
It's almost like they don't wanna be kinda like, I don't know, like, they just don't wanna be seen as a club that paid more, but again, United have paid more in the past, so
Or
that's why I'm
Anthony,
like,
but
when
you
you
could have got
actually
Anthony.
need positions, pay for it, you know?
Bro, you could have got
It's like when
Anthony
we were
half
with De
price
Jong. Yeah, exactly. When we were chasing De Jong, I remember we were chasing De Jong, right? And
all
at the
summer.
start, we were kind of penny pinching, and it's like, but you want him. You want him, and this is the player you want, so pay the money that Barcelona want. But because we knew they were broke, United was like, no, it's not worth this and it's not worth that and da da da. So it's crazy, man. But hopefully this gets done, man. Because like I said, man, we need a keeper. It's almost as if like this is like inevitable. Like this has to happen. We need a keeper, man. So
Yeah.
hopefully this gets done.
I think it'd be a great signing. Obviously, managers going with someone that he knows. I think we've seen in Champions League final. I mean, obviously more than just that, but his distribution and the way that he works with the ball at his feet is phenomenal. Like, I don't think there's a better keeper with the ball at his feet than him. His distribution's great. He can either slot in as an extra centre back as well. So I don't mean slot in. I mean like he becomes an extra defender when he's on the ball. I think he's got the ability
Yep.
of on the ball. I think he's got the ability of certain outfield players for sure. I think this would be a great signing for United.
Yeah.
This is
No.
from a Chelsea perspective because we need a goalkeeper. But yeah, I mean, what do you think is going to happen in terms of a number two, mate? Because obviously you've still got Dean Henderson in the club. He's probably going to go to Nottingham Forest, but you
Yep.
seem like you're struggling to get half decent money in for him. You see the England under 21 keepers going from Man City to Burnley for like 15,
Early. Yeah.
could be
Exactly.
going up, could be going up to 19 million quid, and yet United seem to be struggling to get 15 million quid out of Nottingham Forest for Dean Henderson. Do you think Henderson finished at
Bro.
United?
I think for me, for me, especially now, if United are getting Onana, like he wants to be number one. Like
Oh,
when
no
it's
chance.
like
Yeah,
he wants to be number one. He wants to be number one. So it's like nothing is not gonna change for him. I think for me, he wants to leave. He just wants to obviously play a bit of preseason, get a bit gassed, and then you know what I mean, and then probably get his price up a little bit. We need to get at least 30 million from him. But the thing is, I just know what Man United are about, and they'll probably sell him for 15 to 20 million. And that's
Yeah,
the saddest thing.
you're not going to get
England
30
international.
for him.
We should though. When you look at James Trafford, he's gone to Burnley
Burnley.
for
Yeah.
19 million, and he's obviously younger. He's obviously more inexperienced. I don't know. I never read that somewhere, but I think for me, it's it's one of them situations where it's hopefully we get this done, man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I mean, who would you be a number two keeper then? Would you just put Tom Heaton as number two? Or would you have to
yeah,
go and
Tom Heaton is number two.
yeah.
Yeah. Tom Heaton is number two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that probably
But then
works
again,
all
I
right.
think for me, even Tom Heaton, though, I don't know. It depends on whether, for me, we can get him. I don't know. I think there's other keepers that you can go and get for the similar price. So you can go and get keepers at number two that are quite good as well. So I don't know. I think Tom Heaton is good, but I think he's more of a third option. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest with you,
I would
he's
agree.
more
Yeah,
third,
particularly at United
third
as well.
kind of. Yeah, exactly. So I think for me, that's why I like. Nah, I think he's number two, more so number two rather than anything.
Yeah,
That's just the way I kind of look at it. For me,
bro, you're desperate. Let's talk centre forwards. We both need centre forwards, big time. We're desperate.
yeah, big time,
We're
bro.
desperate for goal scorers. But from your perspective, let's start from United. Obviously, Rashford was your main source of goals last season. He's not. I don't look at. He obviously can play down the middle, but I'd say he's more effective off the left or right, whatever side he's playing off. He's probably more effective down there. You've got Martial, who can't stay fit for more than a game, it seems, at this point in time.
Yeah,
Hasn't really delivered on his promise. The last 2 years, and I look at it like I think from a club of United size, it's a little bit embarrassing that you've had to have been scraping the barrel with a Garlo and Veghorst on loan to try and solve the striking issue. Like United of old, they would have signed if Fergie was in charge, right? And it was Fergie and David Gill still. Harry Kane would be a United player, and he'd be at Carrington training now.
yeah.
Like
Facts.
that is true. Are you surprised, mate? Because obviously, if Kane was going to stay in England, United was the only place he could go. Are you surprised that United haven't pushed for him, or don't have the money to push for him, or whatever it is? Like, are you disappointed that the pursuit for Kane hasn't really materialised into anything?
Yeah, 100%, man. Because I think for me, he would have been my number one choice after Osimhen. I wanted Osimhen at first, but then obviously he kind of is too priced. You know, what I mean,
Way too
too
much
priced
money.
into way too much money. But for me, Harry Kane should. I think he's Ten Hag's number one target, but we can't afford it, and that situation where it's crazy because it's like Hoyland will probably cost you around 45, 50 million around that
He's only
area.
20 though,
Harry
isn't he?
Kane. Yeah, I know, and it's like he really, when you look at it, for the season he's had, he should probably cost you about 30 million,
I
35
think he
million.
scored
But
seven. I think he scored 7 goals for Atalanta last season.
yeah, he's one for the future.
Yeah,
100%, no doubt, is one for the future. But like I said, I think one of them where I look at the situation with Harry Kane. He definitely wants to stay in England, but if the opportunity comes abroad and he likes it, he'll definitely take it as well. So he's got that kind of I think United would have been his first choice. If United came in for him, United would have been his first choice, like literally clear as day. That's your first choice. But United don't have the money and he can't wait around. You know, he was looking to go Man City. I think it was 2 years ago, but
couple years
obviously
ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, Man City couldn't afford the 150 million asking price. So imagine that did happen, and obviously then Haaland would probably never go to Man City. It's crazy how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, I
But
mean, just like
I,
if he ends up staying right, and he say he walks out on a free, do you think you still got you? Would you still go for him next season, like as in next summer? Like if he were to leave on a free from Spurs, like do you think you still have a decent chance with everyone else obviously having their pick of him because he'll be a free agent? I mean, could you envisage a situation where you might be able to get him the following summer on a free, maybe?
yeah, I think for me that could work out, to be honest with you. But I think for me, he stays this season and he signs a new deal. He doesn't go on a free. I don't think he wants to have that reputation where he goes on a free. You know, I
Can't
don't know.
walk out on a
I've got this
free as the
feeling that
best player at Tottenham. Like
yeah,
Spurs can't allow him to leave for free.
no, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, I don't think for me, like he as a Tottenham academy, Tottenham. I don't know. Would you call him a Tottenham legend? I don't. I think for
He's a
me, he's a
top,
Tottenham legend.
yeah, he's their best
Yeah,
player ever, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Tottenham legend. So, would you want to like be known to be the guy that just left on a free? You know, I don't think he would. That's why I'm like, he either leaves this season
Or he
or
signs a
he
new deal.
signs a new deal. You know what I mean? So I feel like for me, um, yeah, like I said, I think he signs a new deal. So hopefully, it's a dream that I think for me it looks possible, but I don't think it's gonna happen. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, let's talk realistics at centre forward. Hoyland is the main one that's being linked. From what I've seen, I can't see that any bids have officially gone in yet. But United are obviously keen
No.
on him. You're looking for a main source of goals. Now, no disrespect to the kid, he's 20 years of age, clearly a very good talent. But as we said, 7 goals for Atalanta last season is not exactly tearing it up. Yes, he's got a few goals for Denmark as well, but that if that signing goes through for the reported money, which could be 40, 50 million quid, maybe a little bit more potentially,
Yeah.
like there's no guarantees that Hoyland is going to go straight into the United team and the Premier League and start smashing in the goals that you need. You'd almost feel that like he would almost be like a secondary signing, like on top of, say, obviously this is not going to happen, but say you signed Kane, but then you also signed Hoyland as a backup rotation option to
Mhm.
almost as an understudy. But Hoyland to me is the main man. Now, don't get me wrong, he could develop into a top player, but I think at 20 years of age, to just chuck him in at United as a main centre forward and be like, right, you need to go and score us 15, 20 league goals a season. That's a massive ask. But then who else do you
Yeah.
go for?
Exactly. Who else do you go for? You know what I mean? But then again, it's like I think the striker market is not a great market. I don't know about
It's
you, mate,
terrible.
but
It's poor.
it's terrible, man. Like you guys have got that Jackson kid, but like it's like, will he set the ground? Like, will he set the heights? Will he get
No idea.
pressure? Will it get to him? You've had a lot of strikers like that. You've had Michy Batshuayi. You've had a couple of players who've come in and not really given their all.
We've had 2 good centre forwards in 20 years. We've had Drogba and Costa. Everyone else has been shit. That's it.
Wow. That's nobody talks about that, a lot, in terms of like your striker situation's
Bro,
never been
we've had
it.
Lukaku, Torres, Shevchenko, Morata, Higuain. That's just 5 off the top of my head. All been shocking for the money we spent on
Yeah.
them. Like so,
It's
for
just been your
me, like
wingers that have been carrying you. Hazard and them players have been
yeah, but
carrying.
for me,
Giroud was a relative success though,
Giroud
to be
was good.
fair.
Giroud was good, to be fair. Do you know what's mad, right? Is it he'd still start for us now? That's the most damning thing about Chelsea in the centre forward position is that Giroud at
That's
36 years,
wild, when you
he'd
deep it.
still
When you
start.
deep
He'd
it, it's
still start
wild.
for us. But like for us personally, you look at the options and like supposedly our 3-man shortlist for centre forwards is Kolo Muani, Lautaro Martinez, and Dusan Vlahovic. 3 players that are good, but 3 players that none of them
Yeah.
really excite me that much. And I imagine United could be shopping from a similar sort of list. I mean, if you don't go for Hoyland, who else have you been linked with, and who would you like to realistically see? Because you need a main guy.
Main guy, yeah. 100% need a main guy. You know what I mean? What else is there? We do need a main guy. But the problem is Vlahovic for me is good. I like him. I like Vlahovic. But again, Premier League, would it suit him in the Premier League? Column one is a good player. But again, is he a natural out and out number 9? I think he can play across the wings as well.
He's one of
He has
them
got a good
versatile ones, isn't he?
versatile as well. And then obviously you got Kane who's an out and out, like Hoyland's out and out, but again, it's still young and whatnot. So the actual striker market is crazy. Like you guys are linked with Dybala, I'm hearing. So
Bro,
it just
12,
shows you.
Do you know what, right? 12 million just on Dybala quickly, right? I know he's 29 years of age, doesn't exactly fit into the age that we are generally signing at this
Yeah.
point in
But
time. Yeah,
Argentinian,
Argentinian.
Pochettino.
And for 12 million euros, right? That's his release clause for clubs outside of Serie A. 12 million euro release clause.
Oh, is he? I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah, so 12 million euros for outside of Serie A, right? I mean, I think it's one of them low risk, high reward signings. Like, yes, he's a little bit injury prone. He missed 18 games last season, but he still contributed 18 goals and assists in 25 matches for Roma. He scored in the Europa League final. There's still quality there. Yes, he's a little bit injury prone, but I think for me at 29 years of age, as a rotational number 10 option / maybe centre forward at times, he's not going to be need to play every week. I think it's a no-brainer, and it adds a little bit of experience to a squad that is obviously very young in its average age. But I just don't know if he'd.
You guys need it though. you've got Chukwuemeka, you've got so many players who
Yeah,
I think for me are trying to
we have
build.
lost obviously, but we have lost Mount and Havertz, right? Who are those kind of 8 slash
Oh
10. So we
yes,
need someone.
yes,
We don't need to replace both of them. We just need to replace one of them. So whether it
one
was
of them.
Dybala, whether it was Cherky, we've been linked with that Leon, whether it's Gabri Vega, we need someone that's like an 8 slash 10, or someone that's comfortable in a 10 position, or like wide. Basically, we need like a versatile attacker at the end of the day. So, bro,
Yeah,
I think the Barla at 12
Bala's
mil
top
is.
though, man. Top player.
I think it's good. I mean, are you surprised just quickly on him that no one's really going for him at 12 million euro release clause? Like no clubs in Europe have really gone
You know
for him.
what it is? It's again availability is your best ability, and
Yeah,
that's the problem. You could be 12 million, but again, if you don't get anything out of it, it's just a waste of 12 million. So in that sense, I understand why clubs don't want to go in for him. You know what I mean? I think he suits the Italian league. I think Roma love him. Mourinho loves him. I don't think he
yeah.
leaves, to be honest with you.
I don't think he does
Roma,
either.
for me, they're not like they're in financial trouble. They've just got the Europa League Conference final. You know what I mean. They've done well in certain competitions, and you know what I mean. The Mourinho factor. I think for me, he's comfortable in Italy. Certain players just
Yeah.
don't leave Italy. He's not left Italy his whole career. You know
No, he's
when you
done
look at
well.
it.
Yeah, he was at Juventus, wasn't he? And then he started at Udinese, went Juventus, and then he's obviously not
Yeah,
Inter, he's at Roma now.
yeah. There you go. So certain players just don't leave the kind of teams that they're in right now. So I think for me, it's one of them where he stays at the football club, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea come in because of the Pochettino link that he comes in and then kind of has that kind of, you know what I mean, that
It could be
succession
be
success there.
could be a late mover in the window. Like I don't think he'd be a first choice, but if a Cherky or a Gabri Vega doesn't prove possible, then you know that option for Dybala is there because you know what the price is. So I think that could be a late mover in the window. But I just wanted to round out last sort of 5 or so minutes with your thoughts on the
Yeah.
outgoings at United, because as we touched on briefly earlier,
What
like
outgoings? What outgoings?
we're so good at selling players, right? Maybe Bowley and need to go up to Manchester, give you guys a little business lesson or something on how to sell players, because what I'm seeing, like apparently, first of all, Harry Maguire. Let's just quickly get a word on him. What is
Yeah.
what is going on there? Obviously, you paid big money for him. He's been an absolute disaster. It's clear that he's not part of the plans, and Ten Hag would ideally like to get rid of him. But I saw something today, I don't know how true it is, that apparently his wages went up again because you got back in the Champions League. There was
Yeah, but everyone, I think it's everyone though, to be
yeah,
fair, because it
but,
goes down if you're not in the Champions League, and then
yeah.
it goes back up if you are in it. So again, that's another added factor as well that I mean that he don't need as well. So he's comfortable, man. It's like he's hit the jackpot. He's got Mason Mount. You see the picture with Mason Mount
Bro,
and
he's
him,
captain.
like. He's loving life, man. He's absolutely loving life. He's playing for England. They play together for England. And it's like, they're loving life. So that's why I'm just like, he wants to stay. He's got the English boys now. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Sancho, Mount,
Rashford.
Rashford. You've got the England. Wan-Bissaka, if he does
Yeah.
decide to get an England call up. You know what I mean? So we've got a little bit of an English call going on here. So it's one of them where the manager obviously will see where he best fits. But I just think for me, it's getting tiring now. Like, just leaving it. Like, but then again, who can afford his wages and who can afford the price tag that he wants?
What
That
do you
Man
think?
United will. I look.
What do you think you'd ask for him? You'd be
I want at
lucky.
least 30 million for him.
You'd be
30
lucky.
million.
You'd be lucky if you got. I think 30, if someone bid 30 million for him, I don't think you get any more than that.
No, and that's a crazy 50 million loss, 55 million loss. You know what I mean? And what we originally paid for him. So it's
So
quite
sad.
sad, but it's one of them where what can you do?
Yeah,
What
no.
can
What
you
can you
do?
do? I mean, I think he stays, and he'll just be comfortable, and you might just be stuck with him. So
Yeah,
that's going to be a huge problem. I mean, a couple in midfield, Fred and McTominay.
yeah.
Fred, they've been branded. They're like obviously not massively popular with United fans, but not terrible players. But if you're looking to push on to the next level, not what you're looking for, not the required quality you need.
No.
Would you be looking to sell both of them?
For me, Fred, I think is gonna leave. I think Fred will leave. I reckon he's gonna go to Fulham. I've got
He's
this
got
feeling
one year
Fulham are
left, Fred,
interested.
doesn't he? 1 year left.
1 year left on his contract. I think Fulham will come in. Hopefully, we get about 15 million for him. And then hopefully, like I said, we McTominay leaves for around about 25 million. I reckon you could get 25 million for him, 30 million, only because Scotland international. I think he's still relatively young, still could give you about 4 or 5 years in his career. I think for me, we could get a lot of him as well. So, yeah, in that sense, it's tricky because again, like I said to you, teams have to come forward. Are them two players a necessity in your squad? Some Newcastle were after him like 2 years ago, but all of a
Newcastle,
sudden now,
McTominay and Newcastle, I could see it. I know they signed Tonali. Do they really need another one?
Tonali, exactly. It's almost like a different type of football you got to play now. You can't play Tonali and have McTominay in your midfield. It doesn't work out. So, and that's why I'm like, yo, how's that supposed to work?
Yeah, no, it is a mad one. I mean, just quickly on a couple of others, what do you see? I've seen you doing something with Amad Diallo the other day. Do you think he's got a future at United next season?
I hope so, man. Because like I said, man, he's a wonderful player, man. He's so humble. And he's ready to take that position. He wants to play for United. He's got his future set on Man United. He just gave me his kind of like the belief that I got from him when I was with him is that he just wants to play and he wants to prove himself in pre-season and he just wants to play for Man United. He obviously there's loans, but he just says for me right now, concentrating on Man United and getting into the team, man. Special player, man. I hope he makes it, but something in me, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of competition now and it's going to be tough. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's just whether Ten Hag rates him, man. And I'm just like, you know what I mean? Ten Hag, does he want players that are quality in terms of technically, or does he want players who can just run? And you know what I mean? And that's his kind of feeling. So, yeah, man, I hope he makes it, man. Humble guy, quality player, man. I was in awe, man, just watching him in the training when I was doing, man. It was crazy, man.
Right.
Crazy.
I mean, even at Sunderland, he was scoring some good goals.
Top player.
Looks a real good
Top
player.
player.
Looks a top player. Last one, bro. Couple words. Jadon Sancho. What's going on there? You man tracked him for a whole summer, couldn't get him. Then you eventually got him big money. He's had a few obviously mental health problems, which is obviously nothing to laugh about or anything like that. But
Yeah,
bro,
absolutely.
he's not delivered on the pitch for you lot at all. Considering all the hype
Nope.
that was around him, where do you think that's gone wrong very quickly? Like, what do you think's happened there? And do you think you
Um,
can see that Dortmund form
because
from him?
consistency, and I don't know if he suits the Premier League, man. You got to have top kind of almost like, you know what I mean? You got to believe in yourself. I don't know, for me, I think he's got a self belief in it within him, but I think it just comes down to consistency, man. And I don't know if he's got that in him, like, you know what I mean? And that's just a reality, a situation. Got all the talent in the world, but has he got the mentality to play every week knowing that this is your final? Like every week you got to play like it's final. You know, and that's how the
Yeah,
top players play like. So yeah, I think for me, I reckon this is one more season. I reckon one more season for Sancho, and then that will be surely it, man. If he doesn't perform next season, I don't think for me he stays at the football club the season after.
that's
But if he does,
three
yeah,
seasons, then,
exactly.
isn't
That'll be
it?
three seasons. Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of chances.
A lot of chances, man. That's a lot of games. Champions League football. Hopefully, he can put his name on the map because he did well when he was at Champions League football. So let's see if he can do it at United as well. So
No,
yeah.
mate, it's going to be interesting. Like, there's definitely going to be a lot more twists and turns in the window this summer for both United and for Chelsea. I'm sure we'll do this again at some point through the window to have a little bit of an update. Saeed, thanks for your time, bro. Massively appreciate it.
Anytime, bro.
Bro, if
Anytime.
people don't know where you're at, what you're doing, like, tell them where to go.
Just go here, man. Saeed TV. And just follow it, man. People, follow. Big
Guys,
up, bro. Appreciate it. Like the video, people, as well. Like the
yeah,
video.
guys, make sure you run the likes up on the way out. Make sure you check out Saeed's channel as well. Loads of great stuff on there. He's doing big things at the moment. So make sure you check him out. It's tagged in the title, guys. You guys got to click on the title, go over there and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to my channel as well on your way out, guys, if you haven't done so already. We're almost at 4K people. So let's get there before the season starts.
Come on.
Guys, I'll be back again later on this evening with the main Chelsea transfer stream. Make sure you tune in for that one tonight at some point. But yeah, Saeed, thanks for your time as always, bro. Massively appreciated. Guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll be back with another one soon. Cheers.